Hello and welcome to Tooshka Training. We're back in Reaper 4 and we're going to start looking at some of the customizing options in Reaper that will make the application fit to you. The first thing we're going to cover is customizing menus. Um, One thing I do want to point out is that you can use the default menus if you want to. That's not a problem. I'm not saying you have to do this. This is what I advise people to do when they're setting up Reaper. The amount of complaints I've seen on various forums across the internet where people are saying Reaper doesn't do this and Reaper can't do that because they haven't looked in the menus, or it's just named differently in the menu to what they expect, which is not uncommon, as I will show you here. I right click here and the first thing I want to do is delete this item. Right, I can't find delete. I can't find delete. I can't find delete. Now, with menus on computers, it's a known fact that you scan. When you're trying to work quickly, you scan. You don't particularly read. You look for recognizable symbols, which will be the letters in a menu. I'm looking for the letters in delete, and I'm not seeing delete anywhere because I'm expecting to see delete. But because I know it's actually there, it's remove items. So one of the first things I'd want to do is rename that to remove items. I'd rename that to delete. But I actually don't want to do that because there's a better technique for doing this. Before we move on to that technique, there are menus you can download on the forum that have been set up by other people, and some people swear by those. Personally, I would not touch them for one simple reason, not because they're not great menus and not because it's not generous of those people to do the work and set menus up for you. It's very generous. Two reasons I wouldn't do it. One, the first reason is you need Reaper set up to the way you work. There's only one way to do that, and that's to set up every menu in Reaper to fit the way you work. Sounds like a lot of work. It is a little bit of work, but it's actually there's a technique to doing it that makes it very, very quick. Actually, after a couple of projects, you tend to have your menu set up fairly close to how they're going to be for a long time. And the second reason I would not advise doing that is because of the scanning that I just mentioned. When you're actually learning an application, you tend to scan the information. That's just the way the brain works. If you start to get used to the way things are from your very first usage of something, you tend to that tends to be the way you use it. The amount of times that people who use Reaper just completely write off a lot of what's available in Reaper because they never used it to start off with is amazing. The amount of people that complain across the internet, oh, it couldn't do this, it couldn't do that, because they didn't know it couldn't do it, or it could do it, I should say. It's unbelievable, and this is the reason why I say customize the menus and do all the customizing yourself, because as you're customizing, you're learning features. So, and the reason this works is because of the technique that I'm about to show you. So we'll cover the technique. Keep in mind that we are actually going to be customizing a lot of menus. There are a lot of menus in Reaper, as you can see. I'm going to start with the media item context. I'm not going to be showing you how to customize the menus and what to put in them. The reason I'm going through this now is so that you can use this particular technique that I advise people to use, and quite a lot of people have used now and are so happy with their own menus. Is because you will learn, like I say, the two reasons I've already given you. You will learn how to use Reaper a lot better, and Reaper will be fitted to you rather than you fitted to Reaper. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at creating an empty menu. So click on the top one and hold the delete key on your keyboard. So we're going to create an empty menu like this. Now, I've told people before to create an empty menu, and they've struggled with this because you have to have an active menu. Because there's nothing here, I'll save this now. There's no menu. So when you right click on the item, you're going to expect there to be no menu. But the full menu's there because you haven't got an active menu. So when I bring this up, the full menu's there again. So we're going to click on the top one and delete all of them. And I'll show you another side effect of not actually having an active menu. You delete everything, you pick an item to drag over, let it go, oh, it doesn't work. because there's no active menu, there's nowhere to actually drag that to until you put something in there. So what we're going to do, the first thing we'll do is we'll add an action via that button at the bottom there. We're going to go to no op and select that. Basically, no op is a dummy action. It's an action we'll use some more later on when we're customizing the interface. But we won't go into it too much now. It basically does nothing. It just does nothing. It's just a dummy. So we'll save that. You don't actually have to close this window at all. You can right click and now you'll see we've got no option, no op action, and the default menu is in the subfolder here, and that's because we kept this ticked here. If you untick it, there'll be no submenu. So what we want to do is we want to keep that ticked, for the reason that you've now got an empty menu, and the whole point to the empty menu is that you're going to, when you're working on a simple project, bring in some loops, just mess around, editing and so on in the arranger. If you're a bit further on in usage of Reaper than the first time, and you're actually in the middle of some projects or whatever, and you can work on some projects, do so with empty menus. Do it with empty menus, because what will happen is every time you right click a context menu, or you open a menu up here and they're all empty, what will happen is you will be looking for a specific thing. You will be looking for a specific thing. And because you're looking for that specific thing, you'll know, right, I've now looked for this specific thing 3 times in the last 5 minutes. I need to put it in that menu. So for instance, I know that I need delete. I know that I need delete. So I'm going to delete this no op action. I just put that there so you could see an active menu with nothing in it. And then I'm going to scroll down on here, because this is the original menu that's now in the subfolder. I'm going to scroll down until I come to remove items. Again, like I say, scanning, and I can't find it. So I've had to actually scroll down to where I know it is. And as you can see, I can't drag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, copy that, and I'm just going to paste it to there like so. Remove items. But as I said before, scanning, I don't see remove items. I want to see delete. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm just going to rename it to delete. So now when I right click my context menu, I've got delete. I can delete the item. Bang, it's done. And that's what I expect to see. I expect to see delete. That's me personally. You might expect to see remove items. You might expect to see something else entirely, and name it whatever you want to name it. That's the way the menus work. Now, the reason we're leaving the submenu here is so that you've always got the items on tap. The actions, I should say, on tap for the media item. So you can right click and you can just go straight down to your sub menu. Right, I was looking for this, or I was looking for that, I was looking for the other. Right, that's golden. I actually thought when I was first set up my custom menus, which was probably about 3-4 years ago now, when they were first implemented in Reaper, that I'd keep the sub menu for a little while until I worked out what, because I used this technique straight away of emptying the menus and then just adding stuff in as I needed it. I thought that I'd keep the sub menu for a little while and I'd just customize my menus and I'd be done, and that was it. But I actually found that keeping the sub menu is a much better idea. To keep the sub menu of the original menu, so you've always got everything on tap that you need, and you can always roll with it. Like I say, do a project and just add in the things to the menu as you need them. And then you will have a menu that is so tightly synced to the way you work that everything you look for, you start to actually not actually look at. You right click on the menu and you know exactly where delete is. You're not learning a menu that somebody else has created. You created that menu and you got the exact things you want in that menu. So I mean, I look at the default menu here and there's a lot of things I will never ever use. There's a lot of things in there that I will never ever use, because I set them up in completely different ways. That's the whole point to Reaper, is the customizing ability of it. So my menus are set up perfectly for me, and this is a great technique for you to do that for yourself. Anyway, let's go back to the customize menu interface and actually look at some of the options. You can right click and you can insert action, separator, label, or submenu, and you can add down here. When you click on one, you can remove or rename. Right, the first thing we'll do is you can reset as well. You can reset the current menu and toolbar to default, or all menus, all toolbars. So even if you mess everything up, you can always just reset that to the menu. So don't worry about it in the slightest. The first thing we'll do is, as you've already seen, you can add any action from the action list. You can add a separator like so. So save there. Right click on that, and as you can see, it's added in a little separator here. We can insert a label, and we'll just call that test label. Save that, right click, and you can see there's a test label here, so you can actually separate things in the menu as you like. We'll add in a sub menu, and we'll call this test sub menu. Now, another thing you'll notice here straight away is that I can now drag and drop from this side, because I've got an active menu. Because I've got an active menu, I can now drag and drop perfectly. So I can save that sub menu there, and now you'll see test sub menu with glue items in it. So you can actually arrange these menus however you want, with various sub menus, labels, separators. You can set them up however you want. I will be setting mine up as I go, and as I'm working with this particular setup in this. Like I said, this is a test Reaper for me. This isn't my full Reaper setup. This is a test Reaper for me to actually work on and build up at the same rate as you do while you're doing these tutorials as well. So that pretty much covers the custom menus. You can always go to other menus and copy and go back to the media item context and paste. So you can paste between menus. You have to remember that you have to save for that menu to become an active menu. But that pretty much covers the menus. Now, there's a lot of menus for you to set up in Reaper. It will take you a little while, but it's only a case of putting in a little bit of time to make the whole interface a lot faster for the way you work, because it's designed then the way you work. Everything is set up exactly where you need it to be. For instance, and I'll just set up another menu quickly just to show you this. There was a complaint on one of the forums online, one of the most complaining forums. If anyone who knows the place will know which forum I'm particularly talking about here. And that was somebody who said that you couldn't set Reaper up to actually just insert, have a right click or a click to insert a MIDI file directly into the arranger. And I thought to myself, well, I've been doing that for years. I've actually been doing that for many, many years. Ever since there was custom menus, it was one of the first things I did. So, but at the same time, again, here we go, look. When I look for MIDI insert, it's actually called insert new MIDI item. What I actually want to call it is insert MIDI, because that's what my eyes are going to look for. Right, so now when I create a track, I can right click and insert MIDI. Create a track, right click, insert MIDI. Create a track, right click, insert MIDI. Now, there's a complaint somebody actually moaned about, who they tried to point out how they'd been using DAW software. And for any Americans out there, yes, we do call it a DAW. DAW has too many syllables. I don't even want to go there. It's not called NASA. It's NASA. We call it a DAW. Moaning that he'd been using DAWs for years. And that Reaper was so stupid that you couldn't just click on the timeline or in the arranger, whatever you want to call it, and insert an empty MIDI item, which is exactly what I've just done. Now, this is a complaint you'll get a lot with Reaper, is people not using these techniques to customize Reaper and set it up around them and have it work how they want to work. They literally think that the default menus are going to be fine. They think that the default toolbars are going to be fine. They're not. If you can download some that fit around the way you work, brilliant. If you can't, Using this technique is a great way to go. So give it a try. And like I say, if it doesn't fit you, you can always just reset the menu. Give it a try. I think you'll find that it speeds up your workflow quite a lot. And we'll see you on the next tutorial.